Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is my great pleasure and honor to welcome here Mr. Moon Hayong, the Ambassador of the Republic of Korea to the Czech Republic, with his presentation and the following discussion on the topic of the anti-corruption strategy with the Korean experience. I think this is a very interesting topic and very relevant to the Czech Republic because all we know about the fall of our government because of these expressions about the corruption scandal. And I think that the Korean experience can be also interesting by focusing also on the anti-corruption strategy within the business sector, because I think that still in the Czech debate very often we still see the corruption purely as a problem of the public sector or the relations between the public and private sector. So hopefully this presentation and the share of your experiences between Korea and the Czech Republic will enrich the debate, also the Czech debate on corruption. So, Your Excellency, the floor is yours, and then my colleague Rudolf Fürst will animate the discussion.
Thank you. So, everybody, good afternoon. I thank you for coming today. Such a short expression by me about the correct expression about anti-corruption. And I know that this is a very pressing issue for everybody. But as I found that since I arrived here last June, I found this is very pressing for Czech Republic. And I thought that I told my colleagues that I may bring some Korean case for the Czech Republic to think about how we can make it better to fight against corruption. So I will try to explain Korean system in about 30 or 40 minutes. After we can have good discussions, Q&A session between you and me about ideas about things in Czech Republic, things in Korea. We can talk to each other how we can make it better in the future. So I will start one by one. We'll turn the page. Next page. I will first of all talk about corruption. What is corruption? Then we just want to define. And I will speak about Korea's case in the political, governmental, business sector. Because we found out that corruption should be attacked by three fronts: politicians, bureaucracy, and the business sector. So therefore I will speak one by one. And I may speak about what is implications for the Czech Republic, if there are any. Then we'll discuss as a conclusion. Next, please. First of all, I want to say corruption is a crime. It's something you can, do it, with your, and your, the discretion. This is not the thing. This is against law. This is serious crime. So therefore, first of all, we should promote such an idea and the way of thinking that corruption is a crime against nation, against the state, against society. So therefore, in Korean case, we clearly mentioned that this is crime actually. This is unlawful, illegal gains, and this is something cannot be stand by the government, by the state. So therefore, here we should make it simple for everybody. If you corrupt it, you can go to jail by the law. This is, I think, very important perception we should have by all the public. So therefore, I hope that in every country, every nation, worldwide, we should promote the idea that corruption is a crime, something we should get away actually. So therefore, I want to say first of all, this is a serious crime against state government. Next, please. Because very well, but shortly, this is corruption. It will undermine democracy. Because somebody who should be up will be down by bribery. Somebody should be down will be up by bribery. So this is something will distort democracy. it will damage social unity because, as you see, if you see there's a rampant bribe, which people will bribe, tend to, then, such the gap between the rich and poor will be more widened, more, systemized. So therefore, such bribery and corruption will undermine social unity. People do not believe each other. We think you are bribing men, and the things is simply not fair. So therefore, we should promote that such corruption is very negative in terms of democracy and the social unity. Also, if it means actually the cost for business, so therefore, it will raise unnecessary costs for business projects. So therefore, it will weaken your, commodity, the export. It will damage, national, the pride, and then, it will simply make your country less competitive. They will lose your market. So therefore, the thing here is that I should say, all the against corruption is all against democracy, free market. It will damage your society and your economy. So therefore, this is a serious crime to tackle, to get away with. Next, please. This is there is actually the very famous NGO named Transparency International, TI. This is very famous. You should know about the corruption. This is the worldwide NGO to make such statistic figures for all countries about corruption. It is also confirmed by IMF, and saying that there's a ranking of CPI, Corruption Perception Index. If you get one step higher than other countries, that means 2.64% of growth in GDP than others. Then one ranking in CPI means 1.2% of more foreign investment in your country. You see that, as you know very well, if there's a foreign investment coming in your country, that means more jobs and more factories and more export. So therefore, when you bring in your investment from abroad, by foreign investors, we don't need corruption here. So simply speaking, politicians and bureaucracy should be clear enough not to, burden foreign investors with the additional cost of money, which will, take them away. For example, it's all, competition in global these days. If a certain company wanted to come to Czech Republic, but if the company finds out there's too much corruption here, they will simply go away to Poland, to Singapore, or to Korea. So therefore, the things in Czech Republic is not alone. It is interlinked. So therefore, such the country's prosperity should be well preserved. So therefore, such the comparisons among states is very important. So therefore, you should, particularly your youngsters of Czech Republic, you should stress much. This will damage your future. There are less investment, less companies, less jobs, simply. So therefore, we want to say that this is such a figure, and the statistics by TI of CPI is very important. You wish to make it better in terms of the grade. That means that if you have, for example, 10 more ranks, for example, that means 26% of growth, better than right now. So therefore, I think that this matter should be very seriously handled by all countries, like Czech and Republic of Korea. Next, please. This is again, virtuous, the circle. When we decrease in corruption, this is, like a following naturally, that means, better resource distribution and increase in international credit ratings and foreign investment, export, more job, more income. So simple, So therefore, we will find out, as I written in the proverb yesterday, corruption is a disease to be, wiped out by all of us. Next, please. So therefore, now I'll talk about Korea, my country. As you may know, we are now better than before, and we are about number 11 or 12th economy in the world. We are very strong in terms of, for example, shipbuilding here. We are number 1 in the world now. Our GDP per capita is about 25,000. We are now targeting 30,000 soon on the matter. And we are now getting better in the field of shipbuilding and steel and IT and so on. So therefore, as you see, we have now here in Noshevich, Ostrava, we have Hyundai Motors here. That we got a very strong steel company like Pohang company, and they are making the 60th largest steel in the world now. And as you know, Samsung Electronics, we are now #1 in the world. The world semiconductor. Actually, we are now #1 in terms of memory chips, and non-memory chips we are now #2. So therefore, that those are the achievements by my country. We are, like Czech Republic, we are very strong manufacturing power in the world now. But we wanted to work more with Czech Republic in terms of manufacturing. Next, please. But as you see, there are side effects such as development. One is that as you see all over the country now, it's kind of collusion between the government and business and politics. I think it is may also talked much in Czech Republic. In the process of development, you see such a collusion between politics and business. It's very common actually. So therefore, first of all, you should clean politics first of all, because politics has a power. They are easy to corrupt. So therefore, I think that we thought that this is the #1 priority. We should clean up the political sector. #1, we have now actually the bigger companies like named Jaebol in Korea. There are big company group here over there. Sometimes they are making slush funds. I mean, they are making some money out of the company, make a illegal fund. For what? For bribery. Why they are making such a big sum of money of fund illegally, illicitly? That means such a slush funds means they are ready to bribe bureaucrats or politicians. So therefore, here's the need come out to check up the private sector. And thirdly, it's a matter of over all countries actually, the widespread clientelism, cronyism. We are working with your close friends. This is not fair competition. We are working with relatives and friends, and they are easy to corrupt among themselves. So therefore, here, kind of, the kinship, academic ties, regional ties, it's not good. Because if there are some over there to be corrupt over there. So therefore, we see in general, we should change our society's culture and the system. So therefore, for example, in the minds of everybody here, you should be, very much solid enough not to be chased away by, corruption idea or corruption behavior, So therefore, we say that not only the bureaucrat or politician, all the citizens together should be clean enough, and have such a minds that such a culture should be changed to a transparent way, to a clean way, not to be very opaque, or yourself is ready to be work with corruption. That thing should be changed by. So therefore, we think that such an order of political sector cleaning, private sector, and then change the culture as a society. This is something which is tackled one by one. Next, please. So therefore now, we go next. Korea was before 34. You see there is the Czech Republic, 27. This is 1997. Next, please. Last year, we are 46, because it's all over the 977 countries. You may see over there, Czech Republic 57. So therefore, there's a small change, a small, promotion by Korea, vis-a-vis other countries. So I wanted to try to explain how we can make it possible. Of course, we are far away from perfection. We are only 47, but we are making progress. So I will try to explain our experiences. Next, please. Next, please. For politicians, you should be careful. Why you want to be a politician? Many cases, it may be to get the money. This is some mindset, maybe, I don't know. So therefore, in the anti-corruption, you should first of all clean up politics sector. So therefore, I want to make clear, such a corruption by politicians is a serious crime. We made it clear by all law, it is crime. They will be in jail from 5 to 10 years at least, and all the money will be taken back. So this is actually same for Czech Republic, but we should make clear such a corruption by politicians is a serious crime. If anybody wanted to be a politician to get the money, it's wrong. We should stop them to be politicians. You cannot select them. You cannot. You should make it elected. You know. So therefore, this one is very important to say. First of all, such a the politician, we should be very clear to them. We cannot make money by being politician. I think that should be the case, and should remind of them such a criminal law that corruption is serious crime to be tackled by everybody. Next, please. We have in Korea, we have such a registration of all the assets by parliamentarians and by somebody who are running for election to be a parliamentarian. They should register their assets. And then the thing is that when you are registering your asset this year, you should again register next year. We can compare between the two. This and next year. How you can make such a lot of money within a year, for example? You can get, for example, $1 million for a year. How we can make it possible? We can check it out. So therefore, when they are running for to be parliamentarian at the beginning, we are checking them the matter. So during the time of their staying to be a parliamentarian, we can check it out. How much money they make during 4 years, 5 years, 10 years. So therefore, they should be clearly explain where the money comes from. So therefore, such asset registration is very important. In addition, them should be clearly checked out by the commission. If register, commission should be checked one by one whether your register is correct or not. So therefore, in Korea, there is a commission in the ministry to check it out, all the reporting to check it out, whether it's correct or not. They are making orders to make it correct. So therefore, first of all, we are making every parliamentarian, before they go to election, they should declare their money. And we can check it out through their being a parliamentarian, where they can make money, where they made money, and we can ask them to explain the money sources. Next, please. And this is the Public Relation Act actually. In many countries at the development stage, when there's election, there's a bribery. We are buying money by spreading money or by buying lunch or dinner, whatever That was the case in Korea before. So therefore, we made it clear that such a thing cannot be happened. You can see that if you find out to get some money or the lunch or dinner from people who are running for election, you'll be fined 50 times. That means if you buy lunch from me to buy my boat, you pay like $10. I should pay the money back, $500 to the government. So therefore, there were several cases before in Korea. One lady got a dinner from a man running for parliamentarian. Then she paid the money back 50 times. So therefore, in Korea, about such an issue, such a case is very rare now. So therefore, in Korea, vote buying is very rare now. It was very common before, but not anymore, because there is a commission, like election commissions. They're very much strict in seeing all the way through. They're checking all the way to restaurants, checking out that there is such buying for the votes. Then when they detect, they fine them 50 times. Not to the parliamentarians, but who get the lunch from him or her. Then voters will be fined 50 times. So therefore, I think there may be a good lesson also. As I told you before, all the members of society should be clean, try to be clean. As a voter, you cannot expect any money or any free lunch from him or her. So therefore, such an election act is very, I think, efficient. it may be a good lesson, for everybody. Next, please. And there is the actual National Election Commission here. It's a very strict body, and they are making the money limit. You cannot use money endlessly. In the case, a billionaire can win even election, but this is not the case in Korea. There's a certain limit, upper limit of expenses, and the expense will be reimbursed. If you get over money, 15% of votes, the money will be back to you. If you are not able to get the vote less than 15%, you lose the money. But if you won over 50% of the votes, you will get all the money back, 100% from the commission. So therefore, in Korea, election is not a money game. So therefore, it's better to set the limit, upper limit of the using money, and then the money can be reimbursed when you get over certain number positive votes from the public. Next, please. This is very important. Parliamentarians are used to corrupt because they have no money to run their office. So in Korea, we made a system from year 2000 about. We are giving them enough money, sufficient money for them. For example, we are paying them every year about $700,000. So they can run an office and 9 staffers. 9 staffers is actually a large number of people actually. You can get your researchers, your secretary, your driver, and everybody. You can get a 9-person staff under you. So they will serve you sufficiently in your moving or in your ideas. So therefore, we found out that the sufficient backing up of parliamentarian make less them corrupt than before. So therefore, such money, such a supporting of each parliamentarian is very good to our experience. And then there's a debit card only. The money should be used transparently. So therefore, they should make a report, checking up by the election commission. But then again, such money, funding for each parliamentarian is very useful. That they are less prone to be corrupt because they are now fully supported by the government in the office and in their state. Next, please. And as same in Czech Republic, the government is now giving the subsidies to each political party. So therefore, about 50% of the money of each political party come from the government. So therefore, there are certain rules, but usually the political party is kind of public organ. They are supported by the government. Next, please. There's a severe way, such a way, of distributing money to each political party. Then again, this method I may skip out. Next, please. And such the money from government will strictly be used and checked by the commission. So therefore, all the money should be reported and made public for 3 months. So therefore, you can check it out by coming to the website where the money is spent by each political party. So therefore, it is rather transparent in the using of the money. Next, please. And each parliamentarian, they have some rule to get donation. So therefore, here as written here, when there's no election, you can get about $150,000 every year. If there's an election, you can get the double, $300,000 every year. So therefore, you can get the donation from individuals, but not from the company. This is very important. You cannot get money from company. It's only from individual. So therefore, company itself cannot be involved in such a the donation. Only individual can give the money to the parliamentarian. So therefore, such a money is transparent. You can get a name. The name will be also open to public. So therefore, you will know who are supporting whom. So therefore, there is no untransparent or dirty connections between the parliamentarians and certain, the brokers, So therefore, you will find that such a, the donation system is very, transparent and should be transparent. Next, please. And I think it's same in the Czech Republic still. We have a real name system, so therefore you can make a fake account in bank. You cannot make a account by company name. You can make an account only by your name. So therefore, you cannot funnel the money from account to account by using fake accounts, fake names. I think it should be strictly abided by, because in that way, any the criminals who are corrupt, it's hard to transfer your money account to account, because every money will be pursued by the government. So therefore, such a real-time system is, I think, very useful for checking corruption methods. Next, please. Now we go to the governmental sector. Same for the bureaucrats like me. It's a crime to be corrupt. So it should be clear to everybody. As a bureaucrat, you are corrupt, then you should go to jail. There's no exception. Next, please. Also same for everybody. Like me, for example, I register my money every year. It will be on the governmental journal. You can know what I have actually. It is on the electronic journal, on the paper journal. So my friends sometimes call me, that you have not enough money for Mr. Moon, so something like this. So therefore, in Korea, every February, they will publish all the money from all high officials of ambassadors or the people above Director General level. So you will know everything that I have, some land or some house or some stocks, whatever So therefore, this is something that we are making in Seoul. That so the thing is the same thing as I told you. You can compare my asset year by year. I register some money. Next year I have some increase. I should explain to the commission where I get the money, saving or whatever. If I get some money, all of a sudden a lot of money, like $1 million, I cannot explain. That they will pursue my money. Where do your money come from? So therefore, I cannot be corrupt. So therefore, it restricts everybody not to be corrupt, because the money in your account you cannot explain. They will ask you, because now your money is on your journal, governmental journal, on their website. So therefore, this is very actually effective tool to stop bureaucrats to be corrupt, to tend to corrupt. Next, please. And there is a code of conduct by there is actually Anti-Corruption and Civil Rights Commission. This commission is in charge of anti-corruption. They are teaching us every day not to be corrupt. So therefore, they are making code of conduct, remind us every day that this is a code by the bureaucrats you should abide by. So therefore, this commission, ACRC, is a very strong commission to tackle all the government and bureaucracies. Next, please. This is interesting, that we have now public hearing active actually. When you become a minister, you used to go through the public hearings at the parliament. There are many cases that they gave up because they can't explain their money. Or some, cases, whatever, extramarital affairs, or some, inexplicable promotion, or your doctor's degree is fake. There are many reasons to drop out of the post. So therefore, when you wanted to become, level at the minister, you used to go through such a severe hearing process. Then many people dropped out. So therefore, these days, even, people, they don't want to put their name on the list, because if there are some weaknesses of like being corrupt or whatever, they will reject that I will not be minister. So therefore, this is very serious system, sometimes cruel, but still very effective. If you have something can explain to the public, we cannot be a minister. Your money, your illegal extramarital affairs, or some other the issues, whatever I told you, the fake doctor's degree, fake MA degree, all things checked up. So therefore, this is very actually effective tool that anybody without qualification cannot become a minister. Next, please. And this is public procurement actually, as same in Czech Republic. We have such a system, and this is open competition basically. But next, please. We have now everything now on the electronic. Korea is now #1 in the world in terms of electronic government. I think it should be the case also for Czech Republic. You should introduce electronic government. When you have it, we can see everything on website. So therefore, I think that such in Korea, we have less corruption because such an electronic system can be checked by everybody, and there is no way to be corrupt. You should type it out. It will be on the website. So it will be more easy to get fair competition. So therefore, here Czech Republic, I found out that here there is not enough electronic government, but I think you should make it sooner than later. That everything will be on the website, to be transparent, to be understood by everybody, to be commented by everybody. Actually, you can type it out your views. Actually, next please. This is code of conduct. Next please. And page 34? Okay, next please. So this is the role by the anti-corruption consulting here. That there is a policy assessment, and it will go on. So therefore, there are many advices by the Commission to each ministry and to each bureaucrat. They are consulting you, they are talking to you. So therefore, they are teaching us every day at the government, within the government, not to be corrupt. They are comparing between ministries concerned. They are comparing between Foreign Ministry and Ministry of Justice, which is more transparent and more less corrupt. So therefore, there is a very line of kind of competition, friendly competition among ministries, which is more transparent and more less corruptive. So therefore, this is such a thing that we are having an internal system of monitoring and checking and teaching them. Next, please. So therefore, as I told you, such a commission, anti-corruption commission, ACRC, they are working with each government, each ministry actually. They are talking constantly how they can improve, at the ministerial level by getting advices from ACRC in the way of preventing corruption, and kind of consulting or monitoring and discussing. Next, please. We may go next, please. As I told you, there are many programs of education. In government, they are teaching us every day, everybody, a way to out of corruption and the attitude and mindset, ethics of bureaucrats. So therefore, there are many, courses in Korea to teach, to remind you, whole year to be transparent and not to be corrupt. Next, please. This is saying Czech Republic, but I think Korea is much stronger, stricter than Czech Republic. We are prohibiting any person like retired actually the officials not to go to the same area from 3 to 5 years. You cannot be hired by company which you worked for before your retirement. So therefore, if I am about to retire, I can favor some company. Then after retirement, I can go to the company as the member of the company. It cannot be possible in Korea. Therefore, at the time of retirement, you cannot favor anybody. You wait until 3 to 5 years to be employed by each company. Then the company may go away at the time. So therefore, such an obligation not to go to a company where you worked for before retirement is very effective to prevent kind of corruption or collusion at the age of retirement. Next, please. Now, about the business sector, again, it's a law, it's a crime. Businessmen cannot be corrupt, cannot bribe government or the politicians. It's a crime, it's against law. So therefore, as in Korea these days, we clean up much politicians, we clean up much government, then we are now tackling the matter with business sector. Next, please. From last year, there are several cases. Famous CEOs are now in jail. At least 5 of them now. Why? They are corrupt. They made slush funds to bribe bureaucrats or politicians. So therefore, there are several very famous Korean company group CEO are now in jail now. You may know some of them from newspapers. So therefore, this is something changed very recently from year 2010, that we are now cleaning up sector of business, private sector. Next, please. There are some cases, that the CEO in Korea, they are now pursued, then they are sentenced to jail for 4 years, 3.5 years, and they are paying the money back. And certainly the illegal and fraud, lawmaking, whatever, we are now tackling company by company, not to be corrupt. And, now we are cleaning up much actually. Next, please. There is actually the conglomerate, like Jaebol in Korea. They are making, there is a lot of companies like Agrofat. They have 20 or 30 companies together. We are making strict rule for them, So therefore, they should, make a transparency. For example, they are making things, on website available to know the company, and they are making public their board members and executives and stock holdings and so on. So therefore, I think that the Czech Republic, your stock market is not, viable enough actually. You should promote your stock market, because in that way, we are bringing companies to stock market to give the information quarterly basis. So therefore, in Korea, companies in the stock market, they will give all information on the website. You can check it out every quarterly, what's going on there. So therefore, certainly, the supervision by certainly the market is very important. Next, please. There is a financial intelligence unit, FIU, it's famous in the world now. All the transactions over $20,000 in Korea are checked by the government. So they'll ask you where the money comes from. But anyway, any money over 20,000, one time, it is checked by government. What is the contents of such transactions? Then they'll check it out, the money is inside if necessary. So therefore, if you are a corrupted man, you got the million of dollars, you should be careful not to be over $20,000 one time. Therefore, such a system is very effective to check it out. Who are making money frequently, without enough basis. Next, please. There is a new system, FIRS, is accounting the rule by the globe. And as I told you, this is making your company more transparent. You should give all the figures to the public. So I think Czech also should be in the FIRS, but we can make it rigorous to abide by such an FIRS system. Next, please. There are famous cases in Korea, 2 former presidents, Mr. Chun and Mr. No. They got somehow slush funds about $200 million, and they paid it back. They were in jail several years already, and they are paying finally the money back to the court actually. So therefore, such the case of our former president is very shameful, but still it's kind of the sample for everybody. If you got money from corruption, you should pay it back later anyway. So therefore, this Mr. John, former president, he's paying about $189 million, which he got from bribery during his presidential office. Next, please. Another president, Mr. No, 150 million US dollars, he's paying the back. He paid the back already, all the money. So therefore, we make it clear. We made it clear to everybody, you should get bribery, you should get the money back to the government, to the court. And he was in jail too for several years already. Next, please. So this is, next please. This is kind of a civil society. There is whistleblowing, a kind of inside confession. If you know such a certain case of corruption, you can report it to the commission. We can get some money from the commission. So therefore, there are some cases already in Korea that in a certain bureau, you can report corruption case happening now, then you can get the money as the price from the commission. Next, please. And as I told you before, it is very important to make everything electronic. In Korea, you can write it down now. If you find a corruption case against me today, you can write down today to my Blue House, Office of President today. There is a plaza for everybody. You can type it out right now, then they'll check it tomorrow, I mean. So therefore, in Korea, we have such an e-people system, 신문을 online. You can simply go to the office of Presidential Office, Blue House webpage. You can go into the plaza. You can type in my name, Ambassador Moon in Praha. It makes some illegal money, I think, But you should use your real name, not fake name, You should make yourself clear that. So this is something I know that he's now such a thing, and then tomorrow they will send me email to me directly to me to explain this case. So therefore, it is very easy, much easier than before. By the electronic system, by electronic government, or by website, we can check it everybody in Korea. So therefore, such our IT system or the website are very efficient to tackle the matter. Next, please. Again, actually, we have very strong news media and the civil society. There are many news in Korea who are watching always politicians, and they're making all the story on the website. You can go in, you can find it out. Who is making money from which activity. So therefore, I hope that in Czech Republic too, you may have a better, you may have stronger news media, stronger the civil society to talk about corruption. I think here, the more the better. Some may be wrong, some may be right, but some may be right will be pursued by the government and by the prosecutors. So therefore, in Korea, we have a very strong news media with I think more than 20 newspapers and 10 more broadcasting company. They are pursuing all around me, So therefore, something happens, somebody will know, So therefore, such a strong checking up by the news media and civil society is very crucial for the transparency and corruption. Next, please. Next, please. Here, I should say, corruption evolves every day. They find a new way always to try to get money better. So therefore, our system should also evolve at the same time. So therefore, this is like a race between cat and mouse. So therefore, always there are loopholes newly made. So therefore, I should say, no system is perfect here. So therefore, every day, you should find out to make it better. So therefore, what I'm saying is that you make a system one day, but you make it better. You should check always, monitor where is the new loopholes happening every day. So therefore, this system should be developed every day. Also, we can talk each other best practices, how we can make it better. So therefore, we can work with the each government, but also we can work with TI, Transparency International. We'll find many ways to work together to suppress corruption. Next, please. So here, again, Czech Republic. I told you that Korea was 10 behind, now about 11 before Czech Republic. So therefore, I should say, there may be something that we can share. Next, please. So therefore, I understand that the corruption is very pressing issue here, but same in Korea here now too. So therefore, we are not yet fully developed country, but we should, work together to fight against corruption. And as I told you, there are some measures taken by Korean government. You may think about, we can have the same system in Czech Republic to make it better. Next, please. Again, all the summary of what I talked about so far, such the way of the making it better. You can find some of the it's good for your country, so you can ask your government to take it, for example, And next, please. Same for governmental sector. I feel myself that our politicians are much better than before. Bureaucrats are much better than before. We have very small room to be corrupt. You cannot corrupt, because there are so much the checking up by many sides. So therefore, we cannot be easily corrupt here. I think that it is very easy, very difficult now to be corrupt, because all sides are checking you every day. Next, please. Business sector, as I told you, they are much more corrupt than politicians. Business circle in Korea. But now, as I told you, several famous CEOs are now in jail. Now it's a clean message for everybody. Company should be cleaner than before. Company should rule-based, abide by, and their report should be on website, checked out by everybody. And if there's a fake, CEO go to jail. So therefore, certainly the business sector, I think, is getting better and better in Korea. As I told you, we have such a public awareness. We need better public. You should press government, you should press media, you should press civil society to be more stringent against corruption. So therefore, we need a strong public interest, public awareness. You can make a campaign on the matter. You can write it down at the website. You can write it down to your office of president. So therefore, you should, particularly youngsters of Czech Republic, you can press your people by writing down that make it better for everybody. Next, please. So here, I finish my lecture here. But what I'm saying is that the Korean system is not at all perfect. We should make it better. But we are working very hard on the matter. I think we made some progress. I hope that we can work together with Czech Republic, go to a better in the anti-corruption. Last week, I went to see your Minister of Justice. We agreed to work together to holding some seminar together. So therefore, I will do my best to work with Czech Republic. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Moon. I'm especially happy about your choice of your lecture. You could choose whatever else, but if you start talking about corruption, I think this is very complex and very universal topic. And actually, we are countries that are geographically very far away, but globalization and modernity and especially business brought us together. So the only thing that what we can do is to establish confidence and be fair and telling the truth. So I think this is a very, very challenging topic, because Czech Republic is a country with a very, very dark record within the European context. And I think there are many, many things that we can discuss. We have time for that, approximately 20 minutes, okay. Or it depends on the situation. Please be so kind, if you ask your questions or give your comments, don't forget to introduce yourselves and your institution. I will just, in order to give you time to prepare your question, I will start with mine. Please. Well, I find the topic of corruption as something very much to do with cultural background, because I'm focused on Chinese affairs, and it's as I remember, living in China, it's something to be in a different society with different institutions, with different understanding of law and different behavior. And the only thing that successful people can do is to establish their personal network through some let's say mutual favor, because it's difficult being in foreign country with the different culture, and especially business people, they have to believe that they have to trust their partners, and the trust must be established. So at first it needs a long time experience, and what's very typical for the case of China, that people do not believe too much in the power of law and justice. So it's better to establish good personal ties than rely on problematic state control. I would like to ask you how far you find the topic of corruption so much based in culture, because the Europe, we can distinguish the European North and the Central Europe and the South of Europe, and even so that Europe is quite maybe perceived as one cultural base, but even within the Europe there are so much different countries, and unfortunately Czech Republic probably belongs to those countries who have very much difficulties with corruption.
Actually, Rudolf, in Asia, there are countries like Korea or Singapore. We are oriented society with human relations from tradition. But as you become a developed country, as you want to grow further continuously for youngsters, you should go to the rule-based and law-based. You cannot stay as tribal or relation-based relation forever. If you, for example, go above the GDP per capita, like 20,000 or 30,000, you cannot have such a relationship system and personal relationship system. It cannot be sustainable. So when you go over a certain level of development, you should be rule-based and contract-based and law-based. So therefore, for case of China, I believe that their GDP per capita is now only 5,000. So there may be a lot of such relations happening right now between government and private sector, but I think it is not sustainable. If China wants to grow further, over like GDP per capita 10,000, 50,000, 20,000, you should change the system to rule-based. Otherwise, company will have certain limit of development. But as I told you, now GDP per capita is only 5,000 in China. So therefore, it is not yet. But from Korea's experience, we were hit in 1987 by civil riot, asking for transparency. In 1987, it was about GDP per capita 10,000 US dollars. So I think that the country per se, for the development, actually, it should be rule-based. There is no other way around, I believe.
So, please, your questions? Please?
Yeah, that kind of use on this part. I have a question. There's many very important measures, legislative measures mainly. You need a lot of political will to get all these approved.
That's right.
Where did the demand or the pressure came from? Was that from the civil society, NGOs? Was that the voters that voted for specific parties or individuals? Or was that maybe the pressure from the business sector, because the fair and kind of even ground for economic competition sometimes is also kind of a motivation. So how was that
Yes,
in
good
Korea?
question actually. I think the business sector, they seldom complaints. I think business sector is easy to corrupt by there. It's mainly our public opinion. People like you, they detest corruption in Korea. That's happening, I think, in 1990 and so. There was such an outcry by the public as a whole that this country is so corrupt. Maybe same like Czech Republic right now. People are on the mood to revolt against government. Corruption is so rampant everywhere. We cannot stand by anymore. So therefore, the pressure came from the public opinion, news media, from the NGOs, civil society. Those are the leading groups to shout against corruption, but not the business, not the politicians. So therefore here, for Czech Republic, if you want to have a better, clean society, you should speak out actually, all the people actually. Not from government, not from the politicians, not from business, because that's not the case before. So therefore, that's why I told you before, madam. I hope in Czech Republic, I hope to see stronger news media, stronger civil society, stronger NGOs, stronger public opinions to detest the corruption, and such a big outcry by the society to yearn for clean government, clean society. So therefore, there should be a big pressure should be made by the public itself, not by government, not by parliament, not by business. That's our experience actually.
May I have one additional question? How about the political opposition? This is a great topic for criticism of the ruling government, ruling cabinet.
Actually, the politicians are easily be corrupt.
Even
government or opposition, yeah.
Oh.
You don't believe in government, opposition party, because that is not the case. They will, degree may be different, but there are a number of cases that opposition party are also corrupt. So therefore, I think that honestly believe pressure should come from public, not from the political parties.
My name is Michael Toomey. I'm an independent researcher at the Institute of International Relations. My question was basically about regulation. In a lot of cases, corruption is often a response to, let's say, excessive regulation or even bad regulation. How do you suppose that a country deals with this? How do they? How has Korea dealt with this issue?
As I told you, there are many licensing or permission. Those are easiest part to be corrupt. If you license somebody, you can get something. You have such power to permit him or her to do some business. So this is easiest part to corrupt. So therefore, as you are right, we should deregulate many things as much as possible. And second, as I told you, we should put everything on website. Because you can go into the website, you can find it out, the conditions to get permission. That's the easy way to do. Otherwise, bureaucrat will never make it transparent, keep it yourself. They're waiting on the desk to give a permission, some on the table money, whatever. So therefore, even though I'm a bureaucrat, I don't believe in bureaucracy. So therefore, you should ask the government to deregularize the such a licensing system, and ask them to put on website everything. Then you can find all the procedures by printing out such papers. Then you can ask them transparently. The better, even government can put the licensing process in the website. You can make some applications by website. You don't have to go to the government bureau. You can get such an application. They will look into. They will permit you. So therefore, it's very important to deregularize such a system, and it's much better to make it electronic by website. It's much easier to tackle corruption, to my understanding.
Thank you. Some more questions, please.
My name is Michal Kořan. I'm from CGI, and I would like to ask something. In order to implement and enforce these anti-corruption laws and rules, you need a well-functioning justice system and police. I apologize if I came a little late, so I missed something. Maybe you were talking about it. So I would be interested in how you manage to make these two systems functioning, because without them we cannot really implement these anti-corruption and criminal laws. Right?
Yeah, you are very right, because many countries it happens, but we should strict abide by three powers. The administration, the parliament, and justice. So therefore, you should make strong firewall among the three. If they collude each other, it will be like Ukraine, you know. So therefore, you know, that in Ukraine, I understand that there's so much corruption even at the judiciary. So therefore, also we should make a strong firewall among the three powers of democracy. We should make judiciary justice should not be corrupted. So therefore, I think that we need a strong will here by the public to ask for such a clean justice, clean judiciary. But in Korean case, our judiciary was more or less clean, you know. So therefore, I think it was not the big case. But as I understand, in some developing countries, judiciary are corrupt, you know. That means that there will be no more investment from foreign countries, because if we don't get good trial, you know, they will never maybe invest your country. So therefore, such a judiciary is very important actually. And also, as you said, police and prosecutors' office should not be corrupt, you know. They should be objective in their, willing power. In Korea, it was more or less the case, but still, you know. But I understand that there should be such a clean division of powers, basically. It's a national system. I think that Czech Republic also, but again, you know, such a the clean justice should be asked by the public, because if there is no outcry by the public, government will not move easily. Parliament neither. So it all depends upon, again, your people on your shoulders.
Some more? Please.
Well, Excellency, thank you very much for your very comprehensive presentation.
Yes, Minister.
The Philippine Strategic Affairs of the Philippine Embassy. And I served in Korea for 6 years and studied there for 2 years. So I have about 8 years and a half living in Korea, and I consider Korea as South Korea, the Republic of Korea, as my second home. Thank you, Kamsahamnida. And I'd like to also thank the organizer of this conference for giving opportunities for diplomats to speak about our best practices. And I've seen Korea as a very prosperous country in one generation. Perhaps they're the only country which we could cite as a model in terms of how they were able to develop themselves as a country. And particularly because of the Korean people can-do attitude and really persistent in doing their work. And I'm sure that with the current state of affairs in trying to improve the corruption incidents in Korea to level with the OECD, I'm sure that they will even be at least top 10 in terms of curbing corruption. So thank you once again. I think the two things that you pointed out clearly was that there's an important in making sure that there is sort of the decrease in the opportunity to practice corruption in Korea's case through the use of electronic means, because it's more transparent. Second, there's less person-to-person involvement because it can be done through computer. And also in terms of the second point is that you also mentioned the importance of a public, a civil society which is vigilant in terms of reporting and making sure that there is a vigilant, active civil society, people demanding for clean government. I think these two things are very clear, and I think we could learn from this example. Particularly in the Philippines, there's such thing as a lifestyle check. You could actually report government officials if you think that all of a sudden they live lavish lives, they buy cars, they wear this, their family lives, and they realize there's just a simple bureaucrat. How come he lives a lavish lifestyle? It can be one way to check whether a person has committed corruption, possible corruption at least. But I think just like my last point, I would like to ask, because there's something to do with government employees. You mentioned Singapore, and one example that we've heard of 10 times is that the level of salary given to public sector workers and officials is equal or even higher to the salaries given to the private sector. Do you think this is something that Korea has done, or if not, do you think this would work? That you would have one, less incentive for corruption because of the system. Second, also as an individual, they will have less, there is no temptation, because we're working on morality and human nature, to use your power to accumulate a benefit.
Thank you, Minister. You have hit the very right point, actually. I was ambassador of Uzbekistan in year 2004 to 7. And in year 2004, when I went there, police salary is about $50 per month. But I hear that they need the money about $300 per month for a family. How they can make the difference between 50 and 300? They should get a bribe of $250 on the streets by taking fines from drivers. But as I found out 10 years after, when I hear from Uzbekistan last year, salary has gone up to $400 now, $500 now. There's much less corruption at the policemen, for example. So therefore, you're very right. In Singapore, they are giving better salary than others compared to private sector. So in Korea, as you said, I remember when our President John, who was in jail before, 1980, we got a very low salary of the, as I remember, for me actually, we got about $200 per month. At the time, there are more corruptions. But now, it's much better than now. But definitely, such a level of salary is very important. For example, as I told you before, if you got a family of four members of a family, if you get something less from your salary, you should fill the gap by being corrupt. So therefore, such a salary level is very important, very crucial, not to governmental bureaucrat to be corrupt. So therefore, I fully agree with you that there should be a salary better and good for family. Otherwise, it will drive people to be corrupt by making such a fill the gap. So therefore, I hope that for Czech Republic, you may get a better salary. So therefore, such a the inducement to be corrupt can be reduced very much. But sometimes that's not the case. I hear from some countries, many countries actually. But still, you should essentially fight within yourself. You can corrupt to get some money. You will not be corrupt for your cleanness. It's up to you actually. But I hope that such a salary of everywhere should be good enough for raising your family. Otherwise, it will be difficult actually. So therefore, the system should be better. But in Korea now, I think governmental officials are more or less have good salary to feed their family. I hope that's the case also for Czech Republic too. Thank you.
Thank you. Some more questions, please? Well, maybe I heard some.
Yes.
One more.
Yes.
How about the coincidence of democratic transition and corruption? If I take the Czech case, for example, we conducted our transition from the communist system into liberal democratic one, and the issue of corruption it's rising terribly. How about the case of your country? What's your experience with the democratic transition and with the ways how to cope with corruption?
As I understand, democracy doesn't guarantee anti-corruption. Democracy means liberal society than before. It may, promote much more corruption than before. So therefore, I understand democracy. When you have democracy, you should have a more strong system to check against corruption. Because in Korea too, we went to the IMF crisis in 1997, but I remember now that we were democratized in the 1987, but from 1987 up to 1997, 10 years time was very corrupt period actually. So therefore, democracy doesn't bring anti-corruption. So therefore, you should have a very strong system with democracy to tackle against corruption. Otherwise, democracy will collapse, prone to collapse with more corruption. So therefore, here in Czech Republic too, you should promote democracy, but at the same time, you should bring in strict rules against corruption. Otherwise, democracy may stray, to disappointing by people.
Korean Republic, it's very important investor in Czech Republic, and Czech Republic image in terms of corruption is getting worse. Do you think that it could be an issue for the future inflow of Korean investments here, that your investors might pick up some other better country in the region of East Central Europe?
Can I be frank with you now? I met many Korean businessmen here. They don't see any corruption here at the level of bureaucracy. When I went to the Ostrava region, when I went to other places, they talked to me that there is no corruption at the level of regional government or the ministry. So here I may suspect that corruption may be at the highest level here, not the regional government, not the bureaucracy on the director general level, but maybe something higher. So therefore, I saw such a sculpture like this at the Vltava at the time of election. That means that people are disappointed much by corruption here, but here I feel that corruption may be at the higher, above cloud, higher there. Then I think that you people should make a strong pressure on your politics, on your government, because some high people are doing this, so therefore they are damaging, they are betraying your country. Not the people in the field, not in Ostrava, not in Jatec, not in Brno, but somewhere high above cloud. So therefore, I think that you should make once and for all strong input to the parliament, to your politics, to your the political parties. You should send a strong signal not to be corrupt. I met actually the Minister Babiš about a month ago. I talked to him that as I understand now, the former government disappointed so much Czech people. I told Babiš that you should not fail to be corrupt again, to disappoint your people. Then I think it may bring about Czech democracy's crisis. So therefore, I talked to him, you should be very stringent in checking up corruption. You should be successful in bringing your people's expectations, live up with your people's expectations. So therefore, he promised he will do this. So therefore, I hope that your government is much better than before, and certainly the new political party are more determined than before, but not to be corrupt, not to disappoint your people. I think that's the case. I wish that such a case will be made by your political parties.
So, thank you very much for this positive message. So, some more questions, please. So, okay, so let's...
Okay, thank you very much once again. I thank you for your time. I'll do my best for the Czech Republic. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.